The door closed behind me without a sound. Not slammed. Not forced. Just sealed. Like a decision finally made. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was dense, heavy enough to press against my chest. I turned, grabbed the handle, twisted hard. Nothing. The wood was warm. Too warm. That's when I felt it. The house was breathing. Slow, uneven creaks rolled through the walls, rising and falling like diseased lungs. The floor subtly shifted beneath my feet, barely moving, but moving enough to be wrong. The air smelled damp, old, and alive. "This isn't real," I whispered. The house disagreed. I stepped into the hallway. Each footstep echoed, but the echoes came back late, warped, as if the house was copying me imperfectly. The wallpaper peeled in long, sickly strips, stained with something dark and soaked deep into the walls. There was no dust. That was the worst part. Abandoned places collect dust. Living things don't. At the end of the hall stood a staircase leading upward. As I approached, a whisper slid across the walls. Not from above. From everywhere. "You came back." My heart nearly stopped. "You left without closing the door." I backed away. The whisper multiplied, voices stacking over one another. Children, adults, voices cracked and wet, voices far too close. I covered my ears. It didn't help. They weren't entering through them. I ran into the main room. A large, empty space with a single armchair facing a cold fireplace. Someone was sitting in the chair. They didn't move. Their head was tilted at an impossible angle. When they spoke, the neck cracked softly. "You always sat there." My legs shook violently. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but something else pulled me forward. Each step felt like a betrayal of survival. "Don't look at me like that," the figure said. "You used to look worse." The figure stood up slowly. When it turned around, I saw my own face. Not a reflection. Not a twin. A version left behind. Its skin was dry and split like old wood. Its eyes were completely black, yet they leaked a thick, dark fluid. It smiled with my teeth. "I stayed," it said. "You ran." The walls began to close in, not physically, but mentally. The house forced memories into me. Screams in the dark. A locked door. A promise I never kept. The real reason the house had been abandoned. "It wasn't the house that trapped us," the thing wearing my face said softly. "It was you." The fireplace ignited on its own. Inside the flames, shadows twisted and clawed upward, faces I recognized. Voices I ignored. The house didn't hunt bodies. It hunted guilt. I tried to scream. The house inhaled. Everything went black. I woke up on the road. The fog was pulling away from the house now, as if it had finished feeding. The same window still glowed faintly. The same patient light. I looked at my hands. They were covered in old dust. The front door of the house stood open. Behind me, a whisper breathed into my ear. "You didn't finish leaving." The window flickered. This time. I blinked too. I didn't turn around. I already knew what would be behind me. The road was empty, but the silence had weight again. Not the quiet of night. This was anticipation. Like the pause before a sentence finishes itself. "You didn't finish leaving." The words weren't whispered anymore. They were spoken calmly, patiently. The way someone talks when they're certain. I took one step forward. The ground cracked beneath my foot. Not asphalt. Wood. The road peeled apart like old skin, revealing floorboards underneath. Rotten. Familiar. My stomach dropped as the illusion collapsed around me. Trees bent inward, stretching into walls. The sky folded downward, becoming a ceiling stained with shadows. I was still inside. I always had been. The house didn't bring me back. It never let me go. The front door slammed shut somewhere behind me. The sound traveled through my bones. Lights flickered on across the house, every room illuminated at once, like eyes opening. You thought memory was the curse, the house said. No. Memory was the invitation. I ran. Rooms rearranged themselves as I moved. Doors led back to places I had already crossed. Hallways shortened, then stretched impossibly long. The house wasn't chasing me. It was guiding me. I burst into a small bedroom. My bedroom. Same cracked mirror. Same bed. Same mark on the wall where something had once hit hard enough to leave an impression. My chest tightened. On the bed sat a child. Me. He didn't look scared. He looked tired. The kind of tired that comes from waiting too long for something that never arrives. You said you'd come back, he said quietly. I tried, I whispered. He shook his head. You forgot. The mirror began to bleed darkness, dripping upward instead of down. In it, I saw every version of myself that had passed through this house. Some older, some broken, some hollowed out completely. None of them had left. The child stood and stepped toward me. Each step aged him rapidly, teenager, adult, stranger, until he stopped inches from my face. You don't survive places like this, he said. You replace something. The house exhaled deeply. The walls relaxed. The fear drained out of the air, not because it was over, but because it was complete. Understanding hit me like cold water. The house didn't kill people. It didn't trap souls. It stored versions. Every time someone escaped, something stayed behind to balance the debt. Fear needed continuity. Guilt needed a caretaker. And now, the house was empty. The thing wearing my face from before stepped out of the shadows. It looked healthier now. Ready. Thank you, it said sincerely. I can finally leave. I tried to move. I couldn't. My reflection smiled, not cruelly, but with relief. It walked past me, straight through the front door. The house creaked softly, settling. The lights dimmed to a familiar darkness. The fog returned, curling lovingly through the halls. The window upstairs glowed faintly once more. I felt myself sinking, not physically, but permanently, becoming part of the walls. The breathing. The waiting. I understood the final truth too late. The house doesn't haunt people. People haunt the house. Somewhere far away, footsteps faded down a road I would never see again. And inside the house, a new voice whispered softly into the dark. You came back.